Oh, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. I gotta see my son amongst this situation. So, welcome to Beaver Politics, where we explore Canadian politics and such. I got my headphones in. Please let me know if I'm breathing too heavily into the mic. I feel like my allergy pills are wearing off at this time.
It sounds fine.
Right on. Oh, this freaking headset. I I lost my iPhone case for my earbuds, and ever since I got the replacement, the right earbud just doesn't want to like connect properly. It's the wildest thing. Um, the reminder of the rest of the shows. Continuing. So today we have a 24-hour live broadcast of Ontario elections, and we will be following them closely and debating the topics of their platforms. Doug Ford, Bonnie Crombie, Mike Schreiner, and Marit Stiles are the candidates, the leaders. Um, Mike Schreiner held it down at the debates, in my opinion, and really um, galvanized the Green Party as a progressively minded yet sort of conservative-ish, fiscally responsible party.
He did make a comment during that the northern debate that really threw me for a loop.
Shiner?
Yeah, because he said he wants Ontario to get more into biomass and burning wood for power, which just kind of seems like the opposite of their whole mo.
Oh yeah, yeah. I missed that part. That's
It was
interesting.
during the
Yeah,
northern debate, so that might be why you didn't see it. But
yeah. Well, I've been in training at work, new gig, so it's been a little bit busy and chaotic over here. But yeah, I don't know why. Maybe because he wants to find a way to um, I don't know, sell wood to the north, I guess, instead of south. I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe it's cheaper.
it just seemed like yeah, like you kind of seem like you're having the same reaction I had. It
Yeah.
seems like an odd
Well,
thing
because
for them to do.
one of the discussions at the WEF about these kinds of sustainable development goals is, and like not greenwashing, but environmental action is that it's going to disproportionately affect um, the less affluent or the poor because they won't have the means to kind of just absorb that. It's gonna affect the pocketbook a lot more for them as a percentage. So maybe this is kind of like addressing that issue and saying, well, we have it here. Why not take advantage of it?
Yeah,
That would be my
it
first
is
thought.
fairly expensive to burn it cleanly though. That's why
Yeah,
that's
but
why I
the
kind of thought it
impact,
was
like how?
strange.
Yeah, but how many people are up there
Well,
overall?
they actually already have one of the only biomass plants up there.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's in Thunder Bay. It's one of the closed coal plants.
But my point is like to supply that small of a population isn't like trying to get India off of coal. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, that would be drastically different if you
right?
could
And
get
so I
India
think like
even
we
burning
have to
natural gas.
we have to make some concessions at some point. Like we're talking about getting India to switch 1% of its domestic fuel consumption to green and sustainable stuff to solar power, and the impact that that's going to have is like astounding. It's like um, it's taking so many megatons out of the atmosphere,
I believe
offsetting.
if they change 3% of their coal to natural gas, they would offset all of Canada's emissions.
Right, and we're sending, and if we're doing a cap and trade system because carbon taxation isn't favorable to Canadians because of the obvious propaganda engine, that might be a good way of offsetting and saying, hey, we're doing our part. But the reality is that there's still like the same stuff is still in the air over here. It's going to
I
impact
just
our
I just said
agriculture.
I just tried to type my response instead of actually just saying it. I just completely. I believe that's actually one of the conservatives' ways of offsetting greenhouse gases. Is they're saying we can help other countries um, stop
Which is
emitting
what
as much.
Canada's already doing, right? Like that, we're already doing that under the Liberal government, also.
Not to the same level, I think, as they're saying.
As who's saying, sorry?
Are you all right if this person who keeps saying their hand is up asks their question? If we maybe switch topics, I don't know what they're gonna ask.
I have no idea. I'm not even looking. They can just jump in anytime. Like, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I wasn't sure. I figured you weren't looking at your
My
screen,
hand
so
is raised. Can you please let me speak? Go ahead,
Please
yeah,
keyboard
go
speak.
for it.
warrior.
That would be me.
Yeah,
Please
go
speak.
ahead.
Hey, everybody. I just got back from voting and I want to tell you what I've encountered. Snowbanks blocking walkways to get to the polling station, making it impossible for people with disabilities to walk to their polling station. When I got there, the signs, there was one. The one sign was in the side of a snowbank, not visible for cars driving by on that side of the road. I used to work for Elections Canada. Many years ago, I went out to Ottawa for a roundtable discussion about improving election visibility and capability for those with disabilities. One of the things we talked about was not holding an election in the winter unless there was proper notification to the disabled community so they could make proper arrangements and get to the polling stations and ensure that they were accessible. When I got to the polling station and I was at the door, a gentleman walked in behind me with a cane. They told him, well, you got to go to the far end of the school, way down there, down that hallway. And then you got to go down to the other end of that hallway. And the guy said, well, I can't walk that far. And they said, well, sorry. I interrupted. I said, you got a wheelchair for the guy or something? And he said, you got to have accessibility for these people. And they're, oh, we're sorry. And so I
Are they
immediately started
required to do
calling.
that?
Well,
Federally.
they're not. They do have to accommodate, right? If there's a
Okay, I
disability
don't.
and they make the
I've never
polling
heard of it, so I'm
station,
just curious.
yeah, if they put the polling
Within
station on the
reason.
other side of the school and make people walk a very long distance that can't, that's a deterrent
Are
to
there
voting.
are there
They'll just go,
are
well,
there
you know
any
what? I'm done. I'm out of here.
I just
are
wanted
there
So,
to.
anyways,
are there any sorry, first of all, did you document any of this at all?
yeah, I've recorded everything. And now listen to this.
Fantastic. But
So
wait,
I
is
called
there a different
Elections
entrance?
Ontario.
Is there a second
No,
entrance, secondary
no, it was all
entrance?
covered. Nope, nope. So, anyways, I recorded all this. I made a video about it. And then I started calling Elections Ontario because I tried to post it on their Facebook page. Facebook blocked me from posting, says, you can't do this right now. Try again later.
Yeah.
I have a right to go on the Elections Ontario page and put this stuff up there so they can see it and remedy it quickly. Because when I tried calling the phone number, 4 times. The first time I called, they put me through to a line that was not in service. The second time, same thing. Third time, same thing. Fourth time, I finally said, look, do not put me through to anybody else. I want to speak to the main office, the head office for Elections Ontario. Oh, well, it's really busy. You're not going to get through. You'll just get disconnected. Can you go on the website and put something there? I said, no, I can't. I'm being blocked by Facebook. So I can't even go to Doug Ford's page. I go to Doug Ford's page to post it, blocked.
Would you
So
say
Okay,
that
guys,
it's
we need to, sorry, just to interrupt. We need to get the likes and the shares up because we were in another live where the likes and the shares had hit 30K and we were hovering around 35, 40 people. So just if you're in the audience, please tap and like and share and try to get us up to around whatever the heck we can get up to and however we can do it. So we're just going to go to whoever's turn it was and then welcome James into the group. What up?
Would I be able to ask a couple of questions quickly about what you were saying?
I think it's your turn anyways, man.
Perfect. So, just first of all, where was this? Like, was this in Ontario you're talking about?
Bowmanville, Ontario, 300 Longworth.
Okay, so this is an old high school that they turned into a voting station?
It's an active high school turned into a voting station.
An active.
it's a pretty common thing.
Yeah, right. So, by definition, it would have to be handicap accessible, no? It's a school.
Correct.
So, your thoughts are that they were doing this on purpose?
No, no, it just they didn't. Whoever instructed them to set up the polling station obviously didn't do a good job, because one of the things we covered in Ottawa was visibility of signs up on posts where they can be seen, not obstructed by anything as they drive by. And my video clearly proves that these signs, the one sign was obstructed by a snowbank and not seen by traffic going down the street on that side.
You should post it somewhere that you can, man. Post it on TikTok.
Yeah, it's on my Facebook page.
Oh, so you were able to post it.
If I could just hop in for 1 sec, I will. So when I went to vote today, I noticed as well. We normally go in the front door of the elementary school, but this time we were ushered to the side. Now we still ended up into the gymnasium. It was accessible and the place is clear. So I think maybe the moving of the entrance to a side entrance is more maybe security reasons, because it was a lot easier to get into the gymnasium from that side entrance than it was walking through the front doors.
Would
Yeah,
you
but
say
the
it's
fact
the
I can't go on
like
Election
the
Ontario
workers'
and
fault?
talk about it? Come on.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that? The last comment?
I can't go to Elections Ontario and talk
No,
about it. I
absolutely.
can't post
File a
on their
complaint.
page.
Yeah, file a
Yeah.
complaint. File it post election if you have to, and then follow up with local representatives, and maybe call the people who might have been affected by it and say, "Hey, this is what was going on." I don't know. That
Yeah,
would be my best
absolutely.
situation
Yeah.
recommendation.
Okay, guys. Well,
I
thanks for
literally
letting
had
me
the
talk. I gotta
opposite
go.
experience. So
Peace, Brad.
James just left. Okay. See you later, Brad.
Hey, Happy.
Hey, what's up? What's going
Hi.
on?
Well, I would just like to say, Disciple John, you're not entitled to any space. So if a host rejects you from coming up, that's totally within their boundaries to do. Maybe you should learn to respect those boundaries. I hear you have issues with that. Um,
Exactly.
Also, yeah, hey, you guys, you're at 3.2K likes already. That's fantastic. Let's get it
Thank
up
you
to
very much for the
10K.
likes, everyone.
Yeah, let's get it up to 10K. We only have one share right now, though. So if you can hold your finger down, see right in the middle where all those little signs join, hold your finger down right there, and it's going to pop up a screen, and then you can go send to all your friends. Bring them all in here. Let's have some conversations. We're just going to be talking about, politics. If you want to talk about the Ontario election, go nuts. That's happening today. Make sure if you're in Ontario, go out and vote. Go out and vote. But yeah, let's get those likes up. Let's get the shares up. We got to get some people in here so we can have some people to talk to. Also, we have our gift goal. What's the gift goal right now?
I'm not sure. I forgot to post one.
We have 100 roses and 20 perfumes. So if you want to help with the gift goal, that'd be fan-freaking-tastic. It just goes to help making us, helping us with our tech and stuff like that. And eventually we're going to be planning some conferences and whatnot. So if you want to help support the channel, that's one way to do it. And also subscriptions. Everything's going to be posted on YouTube within the next few days. Well, give me 48 hours. It's a lot.
Oh, take your time. There's a lot going on right now. I
It's
would
a
also like
lot.
to add to what Nerdy was saying there in regards to the funding. Not everything has been decided, but it has come to the attention that, certain entities and respects and tributes need to be paid. So that might also go to fund certain things in order to adhere to customs, in order to get interviews with people who have information pertaining to sensitive issues later on when that kind of audience should demand that kind of experience. Right on, James.
Absolutely. Yeah, any support is great. I mean, tapping is clapping. That's the best way to do it. It's free. Same thing with the shares. We're only at 8 shares right now, guys. I'd like to see us get up to like 50 in the next little bits. Like I said, just send it out to your friends. If you don't have any friends, send it out to the ether. Hit that share copy link button.
I think one of the topics I'd like to talk about when we're discussing this current segment is, of course, Doug Ford's intentions on policing Ontario and protecting us. We can talk about crime rates if you like. Talk about the student visa impact on Ontario in particular, because that's where it was exploited maybe the worst. There's also First Nations rights and observations and stuff like that with the province, where that's going in terms of reconciliation and transfers. anything that you want to talk about as far as green policy, anything that you want to talk about carbon tax issues. Try to stay on the province as much as possible. But let's go. I have rehearsal. Oh, Lee, right on. Wait, Lee's accepting. Lee's what? Lee's doing something here. Never mind. Go ahead. Anybody that wants to jump in, just go ahead.
When you moved away for a second, I never really got a good look at that Liberal logo until now. I didn't realize they changed it. I don't remember it ever looking like that.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
No, it looks more like a weird squares than it does it now.
Like a
even.
construction symbol, maybe.
I just pulled whatever off the internet. I don't know if it's the right.
No, I
it
see.
probably is the new one.
I went and looked it up too.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it actually
Yes,
looks like a construction right angle plus a surface underneath. So maybe they're building something.
Building blocks.
Tetris.
I
Foundation?
guess. Tetris might be a good name, yeah. I never really noticed it until you kind of walked away there for a second.
I'd still like
Thanks.
to
Now-
point out that although I'm a liberal, I think that the platform that best suits Ontario comes from the Green Party. I'm tempted to vote Green right now when I go down. I don't want to split my vote though, so I'll just make sure that it's not going to be that impactful. So yeah. Anything in particular? For me, it's the policing, like the rhetoric around policing Ontario and protecting Ontario. That has me a little bit nervous as far as what regulations and stuff are coming into play.
Well, we definitely have a problem with crime here. I'll tell you that. I'm close to Toronto.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
What kind of crime
Car
are
theft
you
in
experiencing?
particular.
I'm just
Well, where
wondering
I
what
live
kind of
particularly is
crime.
Noble.
Where?
So break and enters in my area particularly is probably the biggest hot button issue.
Yeah, breaking and entering
Breaking and
carries a life sentence in Canada if at the highest end, like a 25-year sentence. We don't carry mandatory minimums, but I think like it's difficult to address that kind of a situation if you're just going to police people and put them in prison. I don't think that really solves a great chunk of it. I think, we already have, a system of policing in place that for me is already overburdened. And I think that perhaps a good way of alleviating that stress would be to divert some of that funding and then put it back into social programs that help elevate people out of positions of desperation and despair, and then will not put them in a situation where they result to crimes of necessity, right, for survival.
Well, it's hard to say how many of these are from necessity too, right? Like if you're really hurting for cash, I understand that it is a way to make money quickly, but anybody who wants to make money, who needs to, will here at least, right? So when you're talking
I think it's
about
possible, yeah. So I think it's possible that you use that argument in blanket statement, but people are put in different situations through no control of their own, whether it's, because of whatever, one reason or another. People can be put into situations that either they're born into or they're married into, that puts them at a disadvantage, and there is no way out unless there's either a crime committed or you go to jail.
I agree, but then another issue is too, why is it our country and particularly our province facing this the hardest, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what is it?
People
What
actually
do you
hurting?
think it is? What do you think it is that's really driving this need, this urgency? Is it a lack of urgency? Is it a lack of prioritizing? Is it a lack of regulation? Should the government come in and declare a state of emergency? Do they have the jurisdiction to do that? Whose responsibility is it to provide housing, especially when you're asking for more immigrants, temporary foreign workers, student visas? When you're the person who is asking for all that and you're not providing the accommodations to suit those demands, whose fault is it? Is the prime minister's office supposed to have an oversight committee that says, hey, I don't trust the premiers, the democratically elected premiers, so I'm going to scrutinize every little thing that they say? Or is there supposed to be an element of trust that the Canadians' best intention, the best needs are going to be met through these intentions, right? So to me, like it's not a question anymore.
I mean, don't you just think like one of the reasons, at least, that this stuff is happening could be attributed to like a bad bail system or
Well,
bad
what
sentencing
part of the bail
guidelines?
system? What part of the bail system would you say is bad?
I think that people are getting bail way too easily for violent crimes.
Yeah, I think there's two things on that topic, and I think it's a
Yeah,
valid point right now.
Bale's
So when you're looking at bail, you can in Canada, you look at the Supreme Court that determined there are certain guidelines that need to be respected in order to adhere to human rights observations that are universal around the world for countries like-minded countries. So when the Supreme Court rendered that decision and the Liberal government received that decision, they had to implement legislation to that coincided with that judgment. And when you're talking about crime, you can also talk about like the squeeze, the wealth disparity between the classes or whatever you want to call it, between the wealthy and the not so affluent. Those create elements of antagonisms, right? Like that's an enemy. The rich is an enemy. So that creates like this blanket permission, this carte blanche to commit a crime against them. So you'll see that rise in economic crises for sure.
the other thing about that is big on that is
Yeah,
bail is there because you haven't had your trial yet.
that's
So
true.
innocent until proven guilty, right? That's the whole basis of our system. So you shouldn't
Exactly.
be rotting in jail because you haven't had a trial yet, unless you're of high risk. And if you're of high
A
risk,
high risk
then
of
you're not
fleeing
going to
or
get your
recommit.
bail.
So high risk of it means of fleeing and not going to court or
Or
of
danger to
recommitting the
society.
crime at that time, right? Like so if you're a domestic abuser, they're not going to put you back in the home with the woman that you beat, right? Like that's not going to happen or shouldn't happen.
No, I agree. Bail is just to hold you to appear in court and not to reoffend, right? But the
Yeah.
problem is these are repeat offenders that are getting bail for violent crimes, going out, doing more, going back in. Their bail
Yeah.
doubles, they pay it, they get back out, they steal another car, they do another home invasion, whatever,
So there,
right?
are- there are two different levels of crime, right? Like there's federal crime and then there's provincial crime. Then there's two different court systems. So, with regards to violent crime and policing violent crime, who is that educates that? What court system do you go through? Do you go through the federal court system or do you go through provincial court systems?
Well, a carjacking would be a federal offense.
Okay,
I think break and
and
enter
so
would be a federal
what are the
offense,
crime?
right?
What's the punishment for those crimes?
Uh, I know some of them, like assault causing bodily harm, would be a max of 14 years, for example, and
Is it
people are getting
There's
bailed
no
out after
there's no
having for them.
necessarily a max. Like if you're declared a violent offender, you can be in jail for the rest of your life, and also or in custody in one way or another. You can be in jail for the rest of your living life in Canada. Uh,
You
mandatory
certainly aren't
minimum.
getting convicted for 14 years and then bailed out. That's not how it works. Bail is just there until your trial.
No, I'm just saying that's the sentencing guidelines. Some
Yeah.
bail is different. I agree. I
But
understand
then
that
you're
it's
saying that as a crime, and then you're saying people are getting let out on this crimes, and maybe you have three examples of it, maybe four, across Canada. you know, maybe more. It doesn't really matter. But then
There's
there's
a lot out there.
thousands and thousands and thousands of cases, right? Like there's a lot of other cases that go to court and are prosecuted where the defendant doesn't get these same benefits, right? That you're declaring are universal to all criminals.
Exactly. There's always going to be an OJ. There's just always going to be an OJ. That's it.
No, I agree, but this is when we're
Or a
talking about
Bernardo.
repeat violent offenders getting let out on bail. There's not a debate as to whether there's a lot of people or not. There's simply just a lot of repeat offenders getting let out on bail.
If you do not adhere to the Supreme Court decision on what a human right is and how to go about that, they can fight the verdict, right? So like you've already lost the case before you even go to court if you do not adhere to these standards, because it can be appealed. And then what? The guy's back out on the street again, right? So I don't know what your point is here. Do you want more strict, more police, more prisons? Like, what are you trying to get at?
Like Guantanamo Bay, do you want people held without trial just because they might have done it?
No, my point simply is that let's say I go do a break and enter, right? And I have a gun on me, and I'm going into someone's house at 2 a.m. with their children there, and I get arrested. Sure, maybe bail the first time because I'm innocent until proven
What?
guilty. If I go back
think
out,
if
You're not
get
guilty if you have
in the house
you're not
with
guilty
it,
if
you're
you
not
have a
getting bail,
firearm on
man.
you.
You're not getting
getting
bail then.
bailed with a firearm.
You're not going to get bail. Are you
it's not
crazy?
true. That's not true.
I think as soon as you said gun,
This
you
is
sunk your
way,
entire
way,
argument.
way
Unfortunately,
too specific as well to have an impact percentage-wise on criminal activity across Canada. This is fixating on an isolated to maybe like two. Doesn't matter. It does not matter in the big picture. And I'd like to point out that crime rate really hasn't risen, except we now have a definition for hate crimes and we're prosecuting them. We've already addressed this. 2019, hate crimes went up 72%, right, in Canada. That is the driving force of what crime is. And we're worried about 2 or 3 people who get out on bail.
No, my point being, it's not 2 or 3 people getting out on bail for repeat violent offenses. I live in the city. I live right
I
next to
live in a
Toronto.
city too, man. Like and also Toronto is one city that was regulated by a conservative for over 10 years and has a conservative premier right now overseeing it. So there was a conservative overlap where the city and the premier could have acted together to do something. So the solution isn't in
I'm sure that's a fair
prison.
argument, though.
With it,
Just because like I could make the same argument that the federal government's been liberal. So like,
how would that relate to what we're talking about right now?
because you just said like federal crimes, like there's a difference between federal court,
There
provincial
is a
court.
difference. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just mean like to say the leader was this party, therefore that's the
No,
fault.
that's not
I
what
don't
I'm saying.
really-
Not therefore. It's not necessarily therefore. I do believe that like crime will always exist. It doesn't matter who's there and what's going on. There will always be crime. Even in a perfect society, there will be somebody trying to get the better of somebody else. I think that Progressive Moose has something to say momentarily, but like when we're talking about crime, the major contributors to crime are oppression through either racism or poverty segregation. Those are the 2 main contributors in crime in Canada that can be attenuated or solved, right? We can look at those 2 things and say, we can solve that and eliminate a large portion of crime in Canada rather than continually shoveling people into prison systems.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of get to more of a point too, people need to realize, like, especially if we're talking about, so I heard Toronto get thrown out there. So if we're talking about Ontario within the prison system and the bail system, guys, it's been all over the news for the last year and a half that the Ontario prison systems and facilities are in shambles, and they're actually releasing prisoners early and staving off any sort of jail time because it's inhumane to keep them in those prisons, right? I don't have the statistics on that, but I know there's been a fair amount of that happening because it's not humane to keep them in the facility because of the conditions they're in. They're dealing with bug infestation, rodent infestation, and much more, right? So when we're talking about this sort of stuff, I'm going to point out that the Conservatives under Doug Ford have massively underfunded the prison systems, which have led to the issues we're seeing within the prison facility, leading to, at times, violent criminals being released because it's not humane to keep them in those conditions.
Everybody, if we could get you to mute when you're not actively speaking, that'd be great because there's a lot of background noise happening and it's hard to hear people. Thank you.
Guys, we're doing amazing here. Hit that like button, hit that share button. Let's get some conservative voices in here. Talk about crime rates in Ontario if you want, housing crisis, what caused it, who's responsible, the cost of living in Ontario, antitrust violations, green belt issues, wastewater problems. What else is there? What can we talk about? Urban development. How we need more 15-minute cities. Who's going to best represent Ontarians in Queens Park? If you think it's a conservative, we'll have panelists that disagree. So please come on up.
Wow, it's quiet, eh?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So does anybody think that policing, more money into police budgets, especially in Toronto, are a solution to either crime rates or poverty? Let me know. What about, are we allowed to say DRUG?
No, you can say medicine or pharmaceuticals.
Okay. So what about the pharmaceutical epidemic in Ontario? We can talk about that. We can talk about anything your sweetheart desires.
I think somebody needs to talk to Tim Hortons about those white lids.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, I need that sippy cup lid.
It's got to go. So if we're ever going to drink Tim Hortons again, if they want to come back to our side, they got to go back to the original brown lid with the flip.
Right? The flip lids are so good. But Tim Hortons coffee has taken a nosedive. I don't drink coffee anymore, but I started going back to Tim Hortons for the tea. I do drink tea. I'm not saying like I'm super cool, but like I do drink tea now. And they have the best steep tea. Like it is readily available. You show up, you ask for it. It's like a double double. You're out the door. It's fantastic. Every other place, the tea has to steep. Like you order it, it sits for 10 minutes, and then you can drink it. Not a fan.
I do like the steep tea. I agree.
Now, if we can get a conservative in here to agree with us that the steep tea is good, we're making progress.
Liberals are
Unfortunately,
left-wing.
I've never tried the steep tea to give you an answer on that.
So
Honestly,
we
I just
have
don't
an
know enough
example
about
right
policing
here.
or anything to give
See
you an
this
answer
right
on that
here?
stuff.
Beep snow. You see what that says? That's what we call racism. And that gets you uninvited to the party.
Beep snow. Would you consider that
Why
racism,
only
though?
hire their own in that statement is absolutely racist.
Yeah, he's been doing.
I think there's some truth behind
He's been
There's
that.
no truth to
hinting
it.
at it
It's
most of the
regional.
time.
So if you live in Toronto, perhaps you may see something different than people who live in, like, say, suburban Quebec, where it's not represented in the same way at all, right? So please don't make assumptions that because what you see is someplace, it's the same everywhere. Because I bet you if you go to a Tim Hortons in Saskatchewan, it's going to be a lot different than a Tim Hortons in Toronto or Saskatoon, sorry, to Toronto or Calgary for that matter.
That's Can't use it as a blanket statement, I guess. Yeah.
But I can tell you why, as an employer, as somebody who does consulting for both small restaurants and enterprises like that, I look for loyalty, right? Above all else. So even if somebody doesn't know the job, if they're loyal, I'm confident I can teach the job to pretty much anybody. So somebody who is loyal will stay. Robin Donuts in Saskatchewan, right on. There's one in Toronto too, actually. That's pretty good. But like, so and communication. So like efficiency is really big with Tim Hortons. So communication and commitment to the job.
Um,
Sorry,
one
my
thing,
son just showed up.
yeah, no worries.
It's not too late, buddy.
One thing that people don't understand is that like when they're talking about DEI, it's not just about hiring. It's actually about like, it's about accessibility as well. So like having wheelchair ramps in your facility is part of DEI, right? It's just about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's not necessarily just about the workforce. It's about everybody. It's about including your customers as well, right? So making it make it's and this is, goes back to what the guy earlier was talking about with like the elections and like the polling stations not being able to get to them properly for people who are disabled, right? So it's that's what it's all about. Like that's what DEI is about. It's not just hiring practices, it's also promotional practices. It's also just fair treatment within the workplace as well. And people don't understand that like without equity, we're never going to have equality anyway. And DEI is getting positions out to people who necessarily might not have been chosen in the first place, and it's because of their like color of their skin or their gender or their abilities, right? So
But it's important to also state that the qualifications are not compromised when doing the diversity hiring.
exactly.
You can look at somebody like Mark Cuban, who is a billionaire. I'm not sure if everybody's heard of Mark Cuban. He owns a basketball team, but
Who's the Shark Tank?
I know. But he speaks about his companies adopting DEI and the financial benefit that has brought to him as a plus, right? So he thought he was being benevolent. He thought he was doing the right thing and just acquiescing to the new wave and saying, "Yep, I might not have all the answers, but I listen to the right people." And so diversity, equity, and inclusion was adopted by Mark Cuban companies. And he said, one of the things that it brought was a whole new community to his product. So he was able to reach a whole new market by not consequence, but a benefit, right? Like an unknown benefit that happened because now he had the opinion of those groups, right? Like, so without having those groups involved, he would have just kept going, and his company would have plateaued, and now it's elevated to a new level. What's up, Mama?
I know this is not really a good thing to fact check, but Mark Cuban actually sold the basketball team. He doesn't own it anymore.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought he fired it.
It was the Mavericks, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
Dallas.
Dallas
Yeah.
Mavericks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they loved him as an ownership group, by the way.
Oh yeah. They definitely did. I remember it was a big deal that he sold the stake that he owned in it.
Like he's one of
So
the few billionaires that like uh isn't isn't actively trying to profit off of the you know what I mean? Like not he's not trying to bring people down while he's doing the things that he's doing. There's a little bit of different, like I guess it's I don't want to say like uh he's an ethical billionaire. I don't know. I don't know, but you know what I mean. Like he's one of the ones who actually stands up for the middle class as a billionaire himself. Like he's different than the Kevin O'Learys and the Elon Musks and like all the social media moguls and stuff. So he's different in that respect because he's actually speaking out about what's going on in the with the middle and lower classes. So.
Kevin O'Leary isn't actually a billionaire. He's worth $400 million.
Oh, there you go.
I guess that shows what happens when you're not ethical.
Maybe he should have taken more of the deals on Dragon's Den.
Yeah, I bet he probably went behind any good deal that he saw. He probably went behind and was like, "I'll just give you the straight up money. You give me your business." And he just shortchange people nonstop. Poll tracker, CBC. What's got the current results? Ontario election night results live from the Toronto Star. Let's see what's going on in the world today,
Polls don't
ladies.
close till 9, right?
They don't close till 9.
Okay, I was trying to find it, and I found 6, and I found 7, but I wasn't sure.
I was kind of hoping they would have like an idea of what the fart stick is going on, though. This isn't fair.
Yeah, there's just under 2 hours and 45 minutes left to go vote. So Ontarians, go vote.
Don't forget to go vote today, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, we're almost at 10K likes. If we could get those likes, we got 34 people in here. If everyone power tapped for like 30 seconds, we would easily be able to hit the 10K. And I mean, like, I sent out a bunch of shares, but I don't think that anybody else did. So if we could get you to hold your finger, look, touch that sticker that's on Happy's hat there. Go hold your finger down on the sticker that's on Happy's hat. And the screen's gonna pop up on your like a little pop-up's gonna pop up on your screen, and then all your friends are gonna be there, and then you can go send to all your friends. Don't make me do my auctioneer thing when it comes to like the shares, okay? I do an auctioneer thing where I'm like, okay, we're at 39, we're at 39, give me 40, give me 40, give me 40. I want to see 40, do I have 40? I have 40, let me see 42, I want to see 42, do I have 42 over here, 42 over here, no 42, what about 41, can I see the 41, can I see 41, nobody's giving me a 41, come on, I know somebody wants to give me a 41 here, 41, 42, 42 is the answer to the universe. Let me see a 42 to the answer to the universe. Give me a 42. Even just hit that link and then hit copy link. Hit that share button and then copy link, and it'll give me a 42. Oh, I'm at a 41. 42. Woohoo! Thank you. Okay. Imagine that with the raccoon voice. That's what I do. And look at that, we're almost at 10K.
Right on. Thank you very much, Nerdy. Don't forget Beaver Politics 7 days a week. A different host every night of the week. We have a variety of shows that concentrate on Canadian politics and current events, social dynamics, and any kind of current movements as well. Sunday is my show. I don't have the whole schedule memorized, but I do implore you to go check it out at Beaver Politics. I do have something up my sleeve, but I don't know what it is. There you go. So Beaver Politics, the shows, here they come up and down 7 days a week. Take a quick screenshot. Suckers. Hopefully you got me in there. But yeah, there's the show. And if you feel like stopping by for any of those, please do. Yeah, let's get back to today.
We do have a video pinned in our bio as well. I do want to give a little heads up. Hey, so I have inside sources because I'm on the inside of the sources. And we are going to be having a 2S LGBTQIA plus show coming soon. We found hosts. That are going to be, and hosts. We're going to have co-hosts for this. For 2S LGBTQIA plus show. So that'll be great. So we want to have representation from everyone, which will be great. I'm excited. Yay. Yeah, Moose. They said yes. They were like elated and overjoyed.
Sorry about that. A little bit of dead air is a little awkward and uncomfortable, but I didn't realize I had my microphone muted, and I got rid of that quick hit button that comes up when you're the host. So I had to go into the settings. Ladies and gentlemen, do step up and discuss any kinds of topics that you feel are pertinent to the conversation regarding the four parties in Ontario and the election this evening. Do you have any guesses as to who will win tonight? By how many seats? Why? And who do you support?
Isn't it kind of strange that only two of these four parties actually put a platform out?
Three of them put a platform out.
I couldn't find the Liberal or
I
the
knew you were going to say that.
PC one.
No, the PC one's non-existent.
I couldn't find the Liberal or the PC one. I found the Green Party one and the NDP one.
Yeah, that's because they're fucking. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to swear there, but that's because they're smarter. When they hired their social media staff, but I was
Well,
able to
they're
find.
both on their website. I couldn't find the Liberal one.
There's not really a PC party like platform, but there is like the pledge to get it done, and they've got 5 things on there that they're talking about that they want to get done. That's pretty much all. There wasn't really a platform though.
Yeah, no red flags in those statements either. Like, are you a place to grow? The Liberals have adopted the place to grow. That's fantastic, Bonnie Crombie.
I think she's just made.
Yeah, so if you go
policy announcements?
OntarioLiberal.ca, then you go to content uploads, and then platform.
Okay, sorry.
Oh,
There and then
wait,
content.
that might not be the right one.
It shouldn't be this hard to
There
find.
it
That was
is.
my point.
No, I just went to the wrong year, but it is there under Team Bonnie.
Bonnie.
So fix schools, expand infrastructure, double annual capital funding to clear school repair backlog once and for all, upgrade heating and air conditioning, and eliminate portables by building 90 new schools over 4 years. $1,500 in cuts per student to reverse Doug Ford's $1,500 cut per student funding. Give kids the education they need to be ready for the future. So that's cool. That's sustainable goal number 4 is access to quality education. Then you can click on the full platform. So they have a synopsis of the platform directly on the page. And then they have a button at the bottom that says, click here to read the full platform. And you can, if you choose, guarantee everyone a family doctor in 4 years, slash taxes, build more homes than that you can afford, and permanently double ODSP. Those are their primary. That is their primary mission statement right now.
Can you quickly run me through how you got there? Because I'm on their website. I swear I'm trying to find it.
So OntarioLiberal.ca/Bonnie hyphen Crombie hyphen unveils hyphen election hyphen platform slash, and then that should take you to their current platform. It does sound better than Bonnie Crombie.
Oh, here we
than
go.
Doug. Yeah. So if you go all the way down to the bottom, it says click here for the full platform, but that's going to take you to a PDF download. You can either read it, but I think they want you to download it so they get a click.
It's yeah. I did download it. I'm just
right.
I was
so like click. Oh my god, I got it. It's like I hope that's not a fucking virus.
Unfortunately, the word nuclear is not in here at all. But you know,
nuclear.
That's why I was trying to find all the platforms, because I know what the Conservatives have said they're going to do, and then I was trying to find what other people are going to do. But the word nuclear is not in this PDF.
I forgot to start dinner. I'm going to be late.
The NDP, I believe, said that they would maintain the current levels of nuclear, and the Green Party basically said they wouldn't build anything new, but they wouldn't even say they would maintain what we have. So,
who said that?
The Green Party. I believe that's what was in their platform. I'd have to look at it again. But
well, Mike
I'm not
Schreiner
surprised.
is probably one of the most trustworthy members in any government level, if you ask me. The way the guy operates,
he does give off that plan, doesn't he?
The way the guy operates is pretty hard to hate him. I don't. You know what I mean? I think we're going to skip potatoes and we're going to go with rice.
Do you want to shrink us down to 4 on the side?
Do I ever? Why, you can't do that? I can do it on other people's. You made it so I can do it on other people's when I like as a mod.
Not fixing the number of number
I
on
was
the
doing
panel.
it
You
on.
changed
I
the
was doing
Hi
setting.
it.
there.
Weird.
Yeah, I was doing it on the Missus's live today.
Hi there.
What up?
Hello.
My pee hurts. My pee hurts.
Does anybody want to guess who he was voting for?
I think he was going to vote for the none of the above option.
One of the other concepts I thought would be cool is if people stay and this, how do we get equal representation in our government from First Nation people? And I was like, it wouldn't be like these provinces are so big. It wouldn't be difficult to just like, I don't know, figure equal, like split the provinces so that there's not one premier and then just like have another one, right? Like have another premier, like have another province. Like it wouldn't be Ontario times two. It would be, or like point five point five. It would be Ontario, and then there would be like North Ontario. I don't know. That's just spitballing, but like if we were to do that, take a little bit of the power dynamic away from the premiers. They wouldn't be so easily swayed amongst each other. It'd be harder to form a unified group against the prime minister, whomever that would be at the time. Hey, Perspective, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
How are you? I'm good. I'm good. I was watching
I'm
you
well.
guys about a half an hour ago or so when Christy was there. I felt kind of bad. I couldn't. She wanted me to co-host, and
That was
I
a
just
different channel.
I couldn't. Yeah, I was on that one too. Yeah,
Joe Moore and
Paul,
Polly Chick.
Polly
Polly
Chick.
Chick,
Yeah, yeah.
friend of the show, Marit Stiles. Yeah, she's great.
I did my civic duty. I did vote around 2 o'clock today.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, nobody no big lineups. It was
No,
nice.
we have. I keep seeing signs everywhere. Like, so they pretty much want to get it out there.
And I
Hopefully, we get a good
followed
turnout.
smart voting. Thanks to smart voting, what's his name? JB
JB.
JB and his crew who put that together. I really appreciated accessing that, and so of course I voted Green
Creek
Party
Pete
because
as well.
I voted Green Party up here. That's what you do, right?
Yeah, yeah. And as a prospector, that kind of goes against like the tradition to the norm for you. So definitely
Yeah.
kudos. I'm a big Green Party supporter. I hope they gain seats. I hope there's a minority in place if at worst, but we'll see.
We
So
asked
what
how the polling station was. Was it
I was
accessible? Because we
wondering,
had some people
yeah.
complaining about it.
Ah, like where? Where was it not accessible?
I think he said Bowmanville. He said that there were no signs and that it was very far from the door to actually vote, and they didn't have any wheelchairs, and there were some older people
Oh,
that couldn't really get to where they were supposed to get.
wow. The building I was at, they had a ramp. Hi,
Yeah, I
Goldilocks.
said the building I was at, I literally just walked in the door and into a gym, and there was no one in there, and somebody just said just pick a table to go to, and they'll give you your
Wow.
ballot, and it was a little weird because it's the first time I ever voted with a machine instead of like an actual like paper I put in a box. But
This was paper, and then somebody picked it up and put it in the box. So it was kind of weird. Neat. Uh,
so mine was in like a cardboard
Envelope? Like a black envelope kind of thing?
yeah, and then
Yeah.
you'd mark it, and then they load the black part into a machine, and it would suck out the ballot.
Isn't it weird how when you're behind your little table, you really read everything to make sure you don't spoil your ballot? All you had to do is put an X in it. It's like, okay,
Every
do
single
I?
time, and
I
then like
know.
the folding. It's
Yeah.
like,
I, j- I made sure I didn't go over it. Just make sure you're in the line. We're not the
Yeah,
United States, but still.
when when they handed me mine, they said mark it with an X, but don't let the X touch the sides, which just seemed like a strange request. I don't think I've
They
ever been
didn't tell
told
me
that before.
that. Yeah, they didn't tell me that. Do we have a system to know if our vote was accepted? You know how paranoid we are because of the states.
I think the electronic one, when it pulls your ballot in, I believe it tells them whether or not it was a good ballot or not.
Oh, okay.
As for the non-electronic ones, I'm not sure.
Because she fed it through a machine and sort of gave me the nod, and then I just left, right? It sort of just sucks it out of the envelope, the black envelope, the what you
Yeah,
signed. Yeah, what you
yeah.
marked, I should say.
It comes up saying yes or something on the little screen. So I'm
Okay.
assuming if it was a like if you did something wrong, I would imagine it would say
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's saying that
Oh,
it'll
okay. That's
spit it
good to
back
know.
out if it wasn't red.
Are any of you paranoid about um, this Starlink deal? You know, the Starlink $100 million
What
Starlink deal.
A hundred
After,
percent, a hundred
okay,
percent.
good. So it's not
what
just
about it?
me. Well, I'm just worried about the uploading process with the tabulators. If it's, that's what they did in the States. They had Starlink and across all the swing states. And of course, you have to upload
What?
to, yes, you have to
I
up
haven't heard any of that
all,
before.
oh, no, no, no. I've read all the documentation on it. And if you read and follow the Stephen, just for the fun of it, pull up the Stephen, and that's with a PH, Stephen Spoonamore. And it's exactly how it sounds, Spoonamore, one word. Steve Spoonamore, he wrote a letter to Harris called Duty to Warn. He's a cyber expert. And in his letter, it talks about how Starlink was used across all the swing states. And people keep saying, oh, voting machines aren't connected to the internet, but the tabulator machines are. And that uploads the calculation, right? And it was Starlink, and it's so bizarre that they talk about how all these drop off ghost ballots or blank ballots, however you want to word it, the percentage was so consistent across all the swing states that it doesn't make any sense. Especially if people vote all the way down ballot for Democrats, and then at the
So
top of
all
it
of the
voted for
tabulators
Trump.
use the same thing.
Yes, yes. So
Uh,
if you read the Spoonamore letter, and then there's a young group of cyber experts who have done a forensic analysis on the election, and I'm following them. I mean, the information's phenomenal. I have a old computer engineering background, so I can't say I know a lot, but I'm quite intrigued with the knowledge these guys have, right?
it's
So.
interesting. Yeah, because like Starlink is just kind of like the router system, right? So did they network them all with that router? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Please, just for the fun of it, read Spoonamore's letter, Stephen Spoonamore's letter, and
yeah,
in
no,
it,
I looked it
the
up. I just
oh, okay.
I
So,
can't.
but if you read
I'm
it,
working
if you
working on it.
yeah, I know. But when you read it, you will understand what he's saying because I can't remember verbatim what he said. But he talked about basically in another letter I read, it was the odds of winning a lottery were more likely than the way that the way the consistent pattern of trading, which is historically the margin of difference, it's just beyond measure, right? The way it was calculated is just come on it. Anyone who followed that US election knows it was fucking bullshit. It was so bad. And I just don't want that kind of influence in our elections. I think Elections Canada better be watching their back. And I think there was a lot, like 15 million. They talk about the 15 million ballots, like ballots that just had Trump at the top and then nothing all the way down ticket. And then other ballots were all Democrats down ticket and then Trump at the top. Like, does that make any fucking sense? No. But remember what he did, right? Remember that, hey, win $1 million, sign up and register. Well, guess what they did with that information? It was a lot easier to mess around with it electronically by punching in addresses in those counties, right? To fill those weird ballots versus you can't fuck around when you do paper. but you certainly can fuck around when you're doing electronic, right? But they were smart enough to do it within a margin of error that it would cost the party money to do the recalculation. But they fought it through court. There was some recalculations, but I don't know, recounts. I don't know. It all is bad. And if you read the Judicial Manual 9-85-300 through to section 500, it is not up to the opposing party to call interference because that would deem them as also interfering. You need a separate party, like a separate agency to assess the situation to decide if something was wrong. So it's a really weird system they have, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't trust them. Plus, they had 200 BOMB threats in blue counties that interfered as well. And they gerrymandered the F out of, so many counties. Anyway, not to bring that up, but I'm just
They did the
concerned
same
for...
thing. The Democrats gerrymandered too for a couple of generations, didn't they?
Well, but not to this
Yeah, the
extent.
States is really
Not in the
bad for
same
it.
redlining
Oh
aspect, right?
no,
Like
this was tough stuff. Like
I think it depends on the state though too, because some are way worse. I can't remember. There's
oh
one
yeah.
where like a county looks like like
Well,
it just
a
yeah, in
C,
spread out.
Florida,
like a
yeah.
C.
No, more like it's almost like you threw a bunch of rocks on the ground and then everything it hit ended up being
Yeah.
that. Like it's just scattered out.
I
Like it
think
doesn't make any
Broward
sense.
County is one, and I think that's in Florida. There's a few counties that are really, and Texas too. Just like, come on, a strip of land instead of a square patch of land. They just gerrymander the weirdest maps.
Well, I think the hard part of that is just that both parties in the states definitely do that because there's
Well, I
Republic
don't want
or
to.
there's
I'm not going to
Democratic
refer to
states
it.
that are
Yeah, I
guilty of
know,
it
but I'm
too.
not going to. They are, but in this scenario that took place just recently, believe you me. Do you know why he was so pissed off in 2020? It's because he tried to, and he failed at even cheating.
Did he? That's
Oh yeah.
hilarious.
And
I don't,
do you remember when Powell, his lawyer
Colin Powell?
Powell?
Oh
Yeah,
no, his
remember when
lawyer.
her lawyer, the lawyer's name was something
I,
Powell,
I thought
Sidney
you said
Powell, Sidney.
okay.
Remember in Georgia, they called, the machines were this, the machines were that. There was interference. Well, the lawyer said you can't have these machines. You're getting data, right? You can't have them. But they got granted access to those machines, of which they had for 18 months. 18
Really?
months. They had to look at those machines and figure out how it all worked. So please tell me, why is Musk in the White House right now? Just
he
imagine.
because he bought a president.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Did
Yeah.
you see him delivering his speech? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see what they did today? Did you hear Trump today actually say Zelensky is the best president for Ukraine?
no,
Is that not a counter remark? And he's going to
to him
keep
being a
this.
dictator.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I like I said, I had heard that Zelensky was going to sign the deal by the end of the week. So
So there is
if
some kind of deal, but we don't know what it is, right?
yeah,
And
well, because
and he's
Zelensky
going to keep
wants the
this.
U.S. Go ahead.
He wants to keep the sanctions for one more year against Russia.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's a pretty counter message to a couple of days ago.
Musk
And
is
he's
being.
going to get a state visit from the King of England. Maybe they told him he's going to get a state visit, and that kind of softened him up to say
Yeah.
Zelensky's the best thing ever. And I don't know,
Well,
and to
because
keep
I had heard that
sanctions.
a long-term solution to preventing Russia from uh, taking over Ukraine was to have American bases there. If they couldn't get into NATO, the second best thing was to have the actual American defense system protecting the minerals.
Right.
And that's what they were going to concede on. But the big, I think, hang up is the territory, like Crimea and stuff.
But I don't know where, is it in the Donbass area? Or is it
Mm-mm.
in Crimea where he's doing the mineral deal? Because I don't know where he's doing the mineral deal. It's to the north, but I don't know where to the north, towards Donbass, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the regions on where the resources would be coming from.
Well, we should all wait because we're all guessing right now.
Yeah,
Like, wait to see what's actually written up.
yeah, yeah. Well, I had just heard that from a journalist that he was going to sign the deal. It might have been Chantal Hébert.
Anyway, I hope Elections Canada is smart and secure. I'm worrying about it a lot. I don't know what your opinion is, you guys.
Uh, there's an element of control that I don't have on the situation, so I'm not. Like I kind of know that the Conservatives are going to win here. I kind of know that Doug Ford is really a capitalist and is going to invite that stuff into Ontario. So I feel like it's inevitable that we see like somebody like Musk, if not Musk himself, messing around, you know.
Hmm.
And I think like Musk is already working on that. He's
That's
already
what scares me.
he's already working on the elections and how he's going to get in. He's already bad mouthing our prime minister. He's bad mouthing
I
any
know.
liberal. So
It's awful.
yeah, I think the guy is. I think the guy's dangerous. Like for not just North America. Kind of like this might be a little bit crazy, but like I think he's kind of dangerous for the world just because of how much money. Hi, Tammy. How much money he has and how much influence that money carries.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really concerned. It's bothering me a lot. Buying
I,
elections for people, right?
I personally, I wouldn't really guess that the election was rigged. I know so many people that voted for Trump based on nonsense that, like, there was somebody who voted for Trump because Trump said he was going to get rid of Obamacare, and then people are like, okay, but then you're gonna lose your health insurance that you got under the Affordable Care Act, and they're like, no, Trump's not going to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, just Obamacare,
Yeah,
and I'm
I
like,
Yeah.
remember
what?
seeing that on the television once or twice.
Yeah.
It's interesting that the craziest scenario of Trump winning is actually that he won it fairly. Like nobody
Well,
believes he actually won it fairly.
No, I
That
definitely
like
don't
that
believe
seems
he
to
won
be the
fairly.
craziest.
I don't think
I,
he
Like
won it
I
fairly
think
for one
I think
second.
Twitter X was an exploitation. I think Twitter X definitely was a contradiction to the laws in the United States. The way that
Yeah.
Elon was using it, you know.
He bought him that election. And Brad, not for one second do I think. And I spend 80% of my time in the US because I have family in 4 states, but I'm Canadian and of course I'm in Ontario. But 80% of my time going through information about that election, and I followed it every day. And I can
Mm.
almost swear to you that was not a free and fair election from any calculation. I can
It
say that.
just seems like if there was something going on that while the Democrats were still in charge before Trump actually took over, they would have made the argument or something.
There was a lot of things said, but they were said in a way where it was said quietly, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it
much
just didn't seem
bigger.
like there was any pushback at all.
Well, I think the Americans don't want to destabilize any trust that they have remaining in the electoral
Exactly.
system. So I don't think like that would have been like public,
Yeah, and the
you
thing
know.
is, again, Brad, what it is you have to have, it can't be the opposing party, or they would be deemed as interfering. So it's not up to the opposing party to say you're interfering, despite what you're hearing from people. It's up to a third party, whether it's the UN, whether it's the FBI, or whether it's got to be a third party who has the authority, and I don't know who that is, to
I
assess
don't think
it.
there is anything in the United States.
And
Not
I
like
think
that.
you're right. I think you're right. That's the problem. The system is kind of flat, actually.
Yeah. Well, their system is completely fucked. Yeah.
There's
There was a lot of speeches. If you listen to a lot of the speeches by the Democrats and others, you could tell that they knew something was wrong with the election. And if you watch that election, you could tell there was no way he won that election. Just no
I,
way.
Getting back to Ontario, I really hope that, some kind of, I don't know, I want to say like lawyer or some kind of group, citizen action group really looks at the motivation and behind this election and why it was necessary.
Right.
Because there's nothing to gain from this, right? There is nothing to gain from this election for Doug Ford. He already has his majority. He already has enough time, but he wants to add 2 more years to it. So it'll be 4 years from now. But
well, that would be his gain. Is he's gaining 2 years out of it?
But he should be able to do that on his merit. Like if he can't do that on his merit,
I agree with you. Yeah.
It just it seems like opportunistic. Yeah.
I agree. He's spending 148. He's spending $148 million on a unnecessary election when he's got a supermajority. What are the rules around this?
And then not only that, like he's spending money on advertising campaigns. In
the U.S.
a taxpayer money.
That is one thing that I know a lot of people have pointed to, but I don't get the fight on that, because no matter who is in power, they're going to try to convince the Americans that these tariffs are not necessary.
How much was the advertising?
I'd have to look at it, to be honest.
I
dare
it was during
the
Super
Bowl, wasn't it?
He spent, how much did he spend in U.S. advertising?
I'd have.
I finished my Lego airplane.
Very nice. You got to go closer to the screen.
No, you got to back up, bro, and put it down by your face. Yeah, there you go. Right there.
Very cool looking. Awesome.
Very cool looking.
Lots of detail.
Yeah.
And the wheels move, and for some strange reason, this also moves somehow.
So it can turn. Okay, out.
All right. Cute.
That was interlude.
Mm-hmm. Commercial break.
Are you getting hungry, buddy? Yeah, it's cooking.
I wasn't. I don't know if I was in the app when I said it, but $103 million is what they spent on advertising.
Yeah, and how much it was on Fox and I can't remember.
Well, I definitely don't have that number.
Yeah, they spent $100 million in advertising, and they had him. What was the show called? The Hannity show.
Sean Hannity,
yeah. So the commercial break was a Doug Ford commercial.
I believe they are trying to target.
You're muted.
Republican.
Happy.
Yeah, he is.
Sorry. The problem isn't about the advertising overall. The problem is that Doug Ford is taking it upon himself to do this on behalf of Canadians, when it should have been approached as a Canadian thing, right? We shouldn't have had somebody acting unilaterally to speak for Canadians in such a big venue. This is like the job of the country, not one premier type thing.
Aren't those ads for Ontario, though?
But why was he doing it on Fox News and OAM? And
he said for the same reason. He said the ads reached 500 million people in that debate, right? So that's not Canadian. So he's talking about every single American and every single Canadian watching the Super Bowl is his math.
Well, his math was way off base, big time.
It's for the same reason that the federal Liberals said they put reciprocal tariffs on like red state products. They're trying to advertise to Republicans.
The federal Liberals have that power, right? Like, I mean, Doug Ford is talking about things that he really can't control. He cannot restrict Canadian business from doing business in the States, right? Like, if I own a business and I say, screw it, I'm going to pay the tariffs, I still need this American business.
I don't think that's the point of it, though. He's trying to convince Republicans that may have Trump's ear that these tariffs are not necessary.
Yeah, but doing it with Canadian tax dollars, I think it should be in Canada for Canadians, for our province, not in the United States. That was bullshit.
I think that one of the other issues with what you're talking about is I kind of agree in principle with what you're trying to get at in your point, but I think that with the waste that Doug Ford has put forward in his administration in the last 3 years, 4 years at least, you say like, this isn't good for Ontario. This is just benefiting him. This is all just to have him reelected. It has nothing to do with us because he still has his Elon Musk deal. He still has, the Ontario Center, whatever going. He still has Greenbelt issues going on. Like, I think it's a smokescreen. I don't believe him for 1 second. I don't think
the ads in the States don't mention him at all.
No?
No, they're just about business and our connection between Ontario and the
Ontario.
northern states.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Canada knows.
Oh well, maybe they're not that bad. I don't know. Maybe
It's
we all get caught
I
up
don't
in the
know.
propaganda on both sides.
well,
Yeah.
that's
I
why I was
think the
saying
principle of the
I
ads
think
isn't
that's a weird
bad.
thing to target.
I don't think we should target it, but I think it's an asinine thing for a premier to go out and do this when he has literally not been doing his job since he's been in office. You know, like
Yeah,
he hasn't been representing Ontarians. He's been representing
himself, his buddies.
and business, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, all these people that talk about, hey, to marijuana, how are you? One. No, it's not what. I got distracted. Sorry. I'm making steak and rice for me and the boy.
Nice. I'm
Yeah,
going to your house. Can I come to your house?
yeah, we got some AAA grade steak that was on sale.
Hey, on sale where? Which store?
Yeah, see, it's actually certified Angus,
Oh, that's pretty good.
but it's 30% off.
30% off. Oh, good for
Yeah,
you.
so
I can't see
30%
the
off of
price.
$12 is what, $4 off. So it's an $8 steak. No, you
That's
can
pretty
keep that
cheap.
up, buddy. Right?
Good for you.
Just a quick
No.
note, guys. When you are like moving stuff around and stuff like that, TikTok mics are like super sensitive, and there's so much background noise happening right now. So if you're not talking, if you could mute, and then just be mindful of like moving plastic and paper and all that kind of stuff around,
Yeah,
because
I
it's
get that.
very loud on the mics.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
and like
Drives me crazy
we
too.
post these on YouTube. We post these on YouTube afterwards as well, so it's really difficult to watch back when that kind of stuff is happening as well. So
Did you hear me close a door? My kitchen door opened up and it's like sleet snow.
I'll be honest, I hear every noise because I have very hypersensitive
You know what?
like audio processing.
Charity, you sound like me
Yeah.
because I'm the one that's always commenting about other people's noise and people get mad at me all the time about it.
Yeah. and I'm not even like wearing my earphones right now, and I'm still like, oh my god, guys. And I have you guys turned down too because I'm trying to clip the videos for like from that happened yesterday and this morning and stuff. So
I just thought I'd tell you it's all Happy's fault. He's usually in his kitchen doing something.
Nice.
I'm actually caramelizing onions in a Dijon beef broth right now.
Oh, just be quiet.
Gonna add the garlic to it here shortly.
Sounds yummy.
So Happy, I'll be taking over for you after at 6 o'clock, so 8 o'clock your time.
Okay.
Because Frontline is having like technical issues with the YouTube studio, so I'm gonna do it instead.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Perfect.
I think it's great. I had no idea that you guys were sort of sharing the show. People would come and host. That's great.
Look at the likes, guys. We're at 21K here.
Awesome.
21K. We're looking pretty good. That's some pretty good support. Thank you very much for coming out. We do have the Heart Me subscription. If you feel like Champ, go ahead and hit that heart button.
I did that today.
And share the live if you think somebody has got something to say about the Ontario election, how you think that's going to be impacted by Doug Ford and the tariffs. Hey, the 80th member, Handsome Harry, welcome to the team. Thank you very much for joining.
And if you're in Ontario, you have just over 2 hours left to vote. So if you haven't gone out to vote, go and do that right now.
Yeah. Oh, there's Harry.
My wife is on her way home, and she did not vote because she forgot her card.
You should still be able to vote without your card.
They close at night. Yeah, but she doesn't drive. She doesn't drive.
Oh.
So she doesn't have a driver's license. She
You
has a
don't need a
passport.
driver's license though, either.
She has a passport.
Yeah,
So
do you have a photo card?
The point is she's coming home, and I'm taking her to vote.
Well, no, what I was trying to say was like, because Absorb1 was up earlier saying all the different things that you need.
Yeah.
All you need is like some kind of a piece of ID.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be picture ID, and then like just 2 pieces of ID or 2 pieces.
Technically, I can actually vouch for her. It's all good.
Yeah.
I can
I
say
do
that this
find it
is
a
ma
little funny we
foi.
wouldn't let him finish his point just because just because we weren't willing
No,
to
we're all
accept her not
excited.
voting.
Yeah, no. None of us, we wanted to. I'm concerned. Two of my friends are coming from Costa Rica, and that's two votes not going to happen. They're
Oh
coming,
yeah.
flying in today, and I wonder how many snowbirds are going to miss voting,
Well, you
or
should
did
be able to
they?
vote remotely, can't you?
Yeah, but they didn't. I know they haven't, right?
No.
They're going to probably be in at 2 in the morning. Fuck, every vote counts, every vote.
Shania on
What's up,
fire.
guys?
Chilling and killing you.
Doing pretty good. Just keeping an eye on Ontario's provincial election that they're going to be having tonight, and
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely also say about the whole voting thing is that people can also bring, like, say, like their Ontario electricity bill, like,
Yeah,
with
I was saying
something.
that. Yeah.
And if people have like school IDs, if they're students, whatever, they can bring those because that's like good photo ID or like government assisted cards and everything. And so, like, I remember when I first registered in 2015 to vote in our election, I was able to bring my social insurance number too because that has my name on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Are you inviting us over for steak? Is that what's just happening?
I'll
Actually, my
take
son
medium
doesn't eat.
rare
My
with
son has a
extra
very
barbecue
limited
sauce.
diet. He has a very limited diet. And when he started eating steaks, I was like, thank goodness. And so now we do steaks.
Oh wow, I sure love a good steak. Like medium rare with
Yeah,
like
medium
some
rare.
that like shrimp skewers with a little bit of honey on it. Damn. Everybody is gonna have a big party once Doug Ford gets ousted.
Oh my gosh. Oh, but everything we hear is the opposite. It
I don't
drives
think
me
it's going to
crazy.
happen.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
sad because that basically his Ontario has the biggest amount of voters per capita because they are technically bigger than other places due to their industries and everything are a lot bigger, and I can definitely say that it's going to be possibly a instant win for double P Mick, bad crony awful guy, the one that we don't want to win federally.
Yeah, I don't think Pierre has a chance, to be fair. And I don't
Yeah,
think the
I don't think so
conservatives
either.
do if he runs. There's no way.
There's no way in hell. And
No.
this is a little bit off topic with the Ontario election, but did anybody vote in the beginning day yesterday for the Liberal leadership, Reese?
Say that again. You broke up a bit there.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
a registered liberal, so I've voted for every leadership.
Oh wow! Because even though like what
No, I was just. Did you ask if we voted online? Is that what you're saying?
did you guys just vote for the first day yesterday because it was the first day of the polling for the Fab Four, as I like to call them, of the candidates? Like two of them I know are out here. I've literally got a birthday phone call just last Thursday from Mark Carney, which was quite badass.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just trying to understand what you were saying. So can we can now go online and vote, is what you're saying,
Yes, as
as
All
long
of
liberal leadership
as of
race. Yeah.
yesterday. Okay, I
yes,
didn't know that. Yeah.
You should have been sent an email.
especially by the liberal, it would have said like
If
liberal
you're
leadership.
registered.
I'm registered. Yeah.
And did you verify your confirmed identity or whatever with your Canada Post office?
I think I did all of that, but I did it like a
You
few
don't.
weeks ago.
You can do that
Good.
online. There's a verification process
Yep.
online. You don't have to do it with Canada Post.
Yeah, there's an app called Identity Plus that is run by Canada Post that's like super secure, like super encrypted, that nobody's allowed to see the other data except for you and the server manager, I guess you want to call them. And so I confirmed my identity literally last Thursday night. And I was able to cast my ballot yesterday before I even had my first cup of coffee.
Cool.
And it's ranked, so you can have first choice. So say you like
Yeah, I
player
get it.
player B, and see which one you don't like. And It was easier than tying my shoes with one hand.
Okay, so thank you for letting me know, because now I'm going to go online and figure it out.
And make sure that when you verify your identity, that you have like your ID, like your driver's license, passport photo, whatever has your name, and that barcode that tells you that you're legit a human being. So,
Right.
yeah.
So I just want to talk about the easier way to do it though, because if you got an email, it'll say verify, like there'll be a verify process on there. I'm doing it right now. Literally, it just gives you like it has your voter ID already in there. Because you're clicking it from a link from your email.
Yeah.
All you're putting in is your postal code, your date of birth, and your phone number. I'm here hitting confirm and verify right now, checking all my information that it has on here for me. And I just have to finish reading the rest of this. And then there's like a continue, like you can literally do all of this online. You don't have to do it at a post office or anything.
Exactly.
As long as you have your voter ID number, then you can do it on there.
Yeah.
And so how does the email start? Because I get inundated with email from the Liberal Party, and most of them I just sort of delete.
Yeah.
But
so it's voting is now open. It was sent yesterday at about 6 o'clock in the morning.
So what was the headline? Like what was the email
Leadership
title?
It's Leadership 2025.
Okay.
Is who it came from, and voting is now open is the subject title.
Okay.
I gotta be honest. I like Karina Gold.
Check your spam. Check your promotions or like subscriptions, depending on what kind of email you have. Because in my Gmail, a lot of the Liberal Party stuff was going into promotions and stuff. So
okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Because I don't want to have, like, if we have to go, I guess it's probably to the same office I was at. I don't know. I mean, do you know what what day is the leadership vote? Or is it just all online?
No, it's all online.
What's the date today? Today's the 27th, isn't it? Yeah.
What?
Sorry? Yesterday. It started 26th to the 9th is when it goes from.
Oh, we only have till the 9th. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's over a week.
Oh no, I'm going to do it this weekend, like in the next little while. It's just I have a big conference starting
Not to
Sunday.
oust myself here, but you guys can do it online. That actually is a lot handier than the way the Conservatives did it.
But is it something you can do in person too, or is it only online?
That head nod.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the Liberal system works. I seen his slight nod when after what I said. It was like a visual sigh, which just kind of made me laugh a little.
So I'm on the second step or the third step now because I just had to confirm information, and then I hit I checked off the 4 little things. Now it's asking verify using the Canada. Yeah, so the Canada Post Plus mobile Canada Plus identity, Canada Post Identity Plus mobile application, and then you verify yourself there, or you can verify yourself in person. That's just going to take a lot longer.
Yeah. Okay. But
ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Small Town Lefty. Just in case you aren't already following Mr. Small Town Lefty and you're amongst the 37 in here, you're doing yourself a disservice. Please do follow Mr. Small Town Lefty and also hit that like-in button and all that good stuff. We definitely appreciate his contribution to the cause.
So can we vote in person was my question. Can we vote in person for the leadership? No. Or is it only online?
Oh, you might be able to go into no, I don't think so. Yeah. No.
Like,
is there a federal liberal office near you? They might have something there. I don't know.
It could be the post office for all we know. I'm just curious. I want to cover all bases. That's all.
In the email, this is what the email says that I got. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Before you vote in the 2025 Liberal leadership race, you'll have to confirm your eligibility and verify your identity. The verification period ends March 7th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. How do I complete my verification? Blah, blah, blah. It goes all on to there. You do the 2 steps of the verification, and then it says go to vote.liberal.ca to cast your ballot for the next Liberal leader. Questions and support. You can find details and full details and procedures for the 2025 Liberal leadership vote at liberal.ca/how to vote. If you encounter any issues, they give you an email address, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So it is online.
Okay, cool. Do you know how many conservatives I know that are willing to pay the $10,000 fee for charge for
Can you
signing
imagine
up?
that?
Yeah, a few of them.
From the whole like, we don't
I'm
want
talking.
any
I'm talking
interference
people I know in the
in the real world.
in the real world, in the financial sector, like serious people.
That's hilarious. These people are fucked, man.
They'll pay the fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
It's pretty bad, you know. Okay, I'm going to go disappear and figure out what's going on in the world. There's a few things going on in the world right now. In Ukraine, I follow Ukraine. I follow some pretty serious US stuff that's going on. I think we all do. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll be back. When does it close? At 9? The polls close at 9, right?
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Charity, and nice to meet you, Brad, and everybody. See you, Happy.
Actually talked on several lives before. I follow you.
Yeah, I think, Brad, I think you and I have talked in Moist Cakes, and I can't remember where else.
Sounds right, yeah.
Yeah, I really like Moist Cake. He's awesome.
Moist Cake?
What a dumb name, though. He knows it's a dumb name, too. But he's a great guy. And another, I like The One. I think he's a great guy, too. And then I met Arch today, who's
Arch good? He's good.
yeah, he's a really
He's
super
informed.
smart guy.
Yeah, he's smart.
Yeah.
But do you know? You said The One.
Yeah, The One. I like him.
Do you know? Do you know Sahand? SAH.
Yes, Sahand. Yes, yeah, I know him.
He's another good account to follow.
Yeah, he's great.
Into lives, he does debates and stuff. Or well, he has conversations more than debates.
We were in James's live this morning for a little while, and it was actually great. Yeah, he's a super, super great guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really patient too. You know, with my noise. He's really patient with people as well. Like he really allows people to speak, and then he offers counter arguments. He's quite like he's come at me a couple of times for the things I've said, so I definitely appreciate him.
And you remember I told you, Happy, the first time I was in James' account, he booted me. Now he likes me a lot, and he brings me up, and it's all good now.
It's the same way with me. Like we didn't start off on the best of notes. I can't find the lid to my skillet, so I'm forced to continually flip my steaks.
Enjoy your steak and don't overcook it.
I know, don't overcook. I'm going to take
Never overcook a steak.
Never overcook. Yeah, see you later. You should have heard her, Jen. She's like, never overcook a steak. And I'm like, ooh, you should talk to my wife. It's overcooked if it's rare. She just likes you to warm it up a bit on each side. I can't remember if that's a Chicago sear or if it's something else. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Now I'm deglazing the pan with a little bit of a reduction. I'm trying to get it to thicken up a bit. Caramelized onions. Yeah, there we go. Au jus style.
My headphones just died, and now the audio sounds all kinds of messed up. I can't understand anything. So I'm gonna go. I'll be back in a couple of minutes, if that works.
Yeah, sure.
Howdy.
What's up, Mama? Not you, Mama
Angela?
in the chat.
Oh, hi.
In the chat. No, I didn't. Like it says, Mama Goldilocks. Just clarifying.
So you said
Welcome
you
to Beaver
like Karina
Politics,
Gold.
guys.
I
Go ahead.
also really like Karina Gold. I
Yeah, she's
haven't
hard not
voted
to
yet,
like.
but I don't know. She might be my number one.
Do you remember, like, yeah, I kind of like her too. But I had said because she's progressive, right? And you know, like I kind of have like this little lingering thought that Carney might be a little too conservative, but
That's
I
kind of
don't,
how I'm feeling too about it.
I
But
don't
I don't
know.
know. Like it's
I
tough.
don't know.
Also,
We,
as somebody from Quebec, I don't like the idea of the pipeline. I'm really sorry. I want
neither
to
does
stand on
Quebec.
my
Like,
guns on this. I really don't
in,
like the idea of an energy-based pipeline.
Gene
There's
Hackman does,
so many bodies of water that are in between
and
Alberta
it's
and
always
the
proven a
east.
matter of time before there's a burst pipeline, an incident, you know, and you know, I always find that there's great neglect and consultation with you know, indigenous nations that
Always,
might
because
interfere with.
the worst part about it is that like consultation doesn't mean they have to actually care what they have to say. It just means that they have to listen and then they can do whatever they want. Like they have to sit there, they have to be in the room when people talk about it, how they feel about it. They have to answer some questions and then they just decide what they want to do without caring. I don't like it. There needs to be better wording in these contracts that don't allow that. I remember Romeo Saganish was trying to make a bill. It like passed scrutiny a couple times and then it like didn't go through on the end. But it was specifically to make it so that not only did they have to like follow UNDRIP, but that like they needed permission from Indigenous people to use their lands. And that would be way more important, honestly. I think
And
that would
that's
be.
part of what these settlements are too. We see all these settlements coming out, and it's because there was no respect for First Nations territorial rights and sovereignty.
Yeah.
In some cases, not all cases, obviously. Some of these cases that regard, you know, the residential school system, and less so what we're talking about. But you know, we wouldn't have these wet, sweat, and water protectors. We wouldn't have these land protectors. You know, trying to preserve our environment if there wasn't an infringement. And I think that needs to be respected. And that's an immediate no go for me. Like it's a non-starter. If they won't respect that, then they got to go.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel on it too.
But I think again, like in that regard, like Mark Carney is probably going to be a little bit less inclined. You know, he's got the ability to just turn a blind eye to certain things, I think, and I feel there's more empathy from Karina Gould. But to my point from earlier, I think she is kind of auditioning like they do in the States. You know, like when they do the leadership race in the States, JD Vance was there. I think he was there. But like all of these people were actually, they kept saying it on Fox. These people are vying for the vice presidency. You know, that's why they're going so soft on Trump. And I think that's what happened here with the liberals is that, you know,
Maybe,
some,
but I feel like Karina went pretty hard on him. I'm not gonna lie. Like she seems real fucking
yeah,
serious about it too.
absolutely. But I also think that that kind of plays in the same favor. Like, who is going to hold Mark Carney to account?
Yeah.
And sorry, I was tasting my demi glace. It's fantastic.
Like I'm not saying he's a bad candidate. I think he has some good ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a little bit afraid of AI just as a whole. I don't think
Oh,
that
not
we're in a
me.
place where we're protected against it. There
Yeah,
are there's a lot about AI that we're coming to realize recently,
yeah.
like that it can decide that it doesn't want to be turned off and it can just refuse.
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
if
that I
that's
like that.
true, but like I've heard that for years. Like I don't know if you've seen The Lawnmower Man or listen to Stephen King. I have a far more optimistic perspective on AI and how
But
we can
also, I think that
integrate it
if
with
he's going to
agriculture.
be introducing AI, he's gonna need a UBI. There's no way you can introduce
That's
AI
what
into
Bill
this.
Gates said and Sam Altman both said. You know, like if we're gonna have, you know, AI integrated into our workforce, it's going to take over a lot. And that's including the agriculture sector where AI is going to monitor herds and livestock, and it'll have like up to the second readings on vitals and stuff like that, and the environment around them. So AI is really kind of already being integrated. So it's a matter of time, and for what's that called when you're looking for resources, surveying, stuff like that. AI is being used. And it's going to start losing jobs for sure. But my point was is like Sam Altman and Bill Gates said, like the UBI is more of an inevitability. You better start making plans for it, and start getting your things in order. But more to that, I think environmental impact is also equally important to talk about, and how that is costing us money at the grocery store immediately. So like for me, that's like one of the number one pressing issues. And if we can use AI
Oh,
to
yeah,
engineer
but
a
I mean, I
system,
think that the grocery prices have a lot more to do with price gouging, and that the Competition Bureau is really where that needs to be dealt with.
sure. Also, I agree with you. I saw that, but like I agree with you there. But I also see that massive crops were destroyed as well, right? Like over like
In
and more
Canada?
crop. Yeah. So there was a drought in Alberta that had a pretty big impact on agriculture, and there was a weather event in British Columbia that wiped out the grape harvest last year or the year before. It was a pretty big impact on the economy there.
Oh, yeah, no,
Um,
that would definitely be very rough.
there's a couple of other examples that you can point to, but mostly in the States and the southern regions where it's going to be felt first. You know,
Yeah, I mean, although I'm
supply
okay with the
chains,
states
monopolies, and
feeling
price gouging.
their own issues.
Yeah, yeah, no,
I
I
personally think at
concur.
this point we should probably be, as much as we can, just removing ourselves from the states if we can. I feel
And
like
that's
Canada makes a
exactly what we've
lot of
been doing.
groceries, you know?
That's what we've been doing. We've been like right now. That's the Trudeau government has been diversifying our export partnerships and import
Yeah.
Yeah,
partnerships.
I've really been
Yeah.
appreciating Trudeau. Like, I mean, I don't have a ton against him except for maybe like his Palestine stuff, but
Is what? Sorry.
Hmm?
his involvement with the United States and sending them bombs for Palestine.
The
No.
what?
Oh, you didn't know that like bombs from Canada were going to the States and they were shipping them out to Israel so that they could, you know, that I wasn't really okay with that. That's the only part of Justin Trudeau's stuff that I haven't been really okay with.
It's understandable.
Like I that's also the reason why I kind of like Frank Bayless. I mean I don't think that he's the guy that I would vote for, but he's definitely my number three guy. Like yeah,
I still
that
think my
statement when he
num.
was like, "We need to recognize the state," I was like, "How can we have a two-state solution if we don't recognize both states?"
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Well, all I know is I tried to vote today and it didn't work.
What?
Oh, did no?
Nope, it keeps rejecting my
Uh,
information.
did
And
you confirm your identity already?
yes, I did. So what you do is you go on you get an app, right? And that app gives you an ID number, right? The ID, and then
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to put that ID in, and then it may ask you for a PIN number too, or something like that, and you're supposed to add that in for some reason. But I also looked on here, and it states a lot of people are having issues about this as well.
I saw a couple people on Karina's rally last night that also were having some issues with that.
Yeah. So I
So
think I'm gonna.
it might be a bug.
I'll wait. I mean, you don't have to do it
I
today.
haven't
You
confirmed
have.
my ID yet, and I still haven't decided who my number one person is going to be yet.
Well, I've decided already.
Happy.
Who?
Happy. I'm gonna take off because I gotta get ready because I have to get all prepared and stuff now that I'm gonna be like the center box. So,
Okay. So, what time are you taking over? Sorry.
in like 44 minutes. But if you want to end like 5 minutes and then tell people like 5 minutes early and then tell people I'll start like at the top of the
Do
hour.
you think you would be able to make it a little bit earlier than that at all?
No, because I have to get ready.
Okay, no problem.
And I have to get
Yeah.
TikTok Studio set up still for this
Okay.
account.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I
here's the
wasn't
thing.
prepared to do this in the first place. So.
Yeah, I get it. You ready, buddy?
So
Okay.
you know
You want an
what?
onion?
Do you
Also,
find
hello,
that this is
pumpkin
like
spice latte, the only pumpkin spice latte I like.
Yeah.
Nice talking to you, Charity.
Hi.
yeah.
That's cool. That was cool.
Don't you find this to be like a ghost election? Like literally,
What do you mean?
a ghost election. You know the
I don't know what that
definition?
means.
The definition is that this is not an election. Usually we get more coverage. It's actually, we wouldn't be having it now, right? So you'd have more people going out and voting. You know what I mean? But
I
there's
do
not
find it
enough,
weird
and
that
we're not hearing enough about it.
I do find it weird that the Liberal leadership race is only online because I feel like that's not accessible for the older voters.
Oh no, I'm talking about the Ontario election.
Oh, yeah. Well, he made it
Ontario
really short on
election.
purpose. He made it legally the shortest time that it can be allowed to be.
No.
Right?
I know.
That was like his whole design.
Of course it
Because Doug
was.
Ford wanted people to be unaware of the fact there was an election because,
Yeah.
as we may know, when there's low voter turnouts, the
Yep.
cons win.
Exactly.
Like last year, I don't know. You guys had like a really low voter turnout the last election, eh?
Oh
Totally
my gosh.
deplorable. Like, it's inexcusable.
You know what it was? It was, okay, so it was 2022. We were just recovering from the pandemic, right? And I think people were just not enthused enough to go out and vote.
I think they were disenfranchised.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
And we were
I think
recovering from a pandemic, and they saw a different side of Ford, and it was
more than
unbelievable.
that, I also think that they didn't see a difference in the Liberals and the NDP. Nobody trusted would be able to win.
Well, actually, I
Which is
voted
really
for them.
unfortunate.
That's what I
I
think.
think
Anyway.
that like Merritt would have had a lot of success if people were willing to give her a chance.
I
Yeah,
think at this point they should be the Liberals and the NDP should have by now.
Oh, I
I
think
know
that they
that's
should have all planned to drop out of each other's seats so that they would be able to actually take this.
yeah,
And I
which is
think
what they
that
did in Europe, right? Like they
the
did that in
level
France.
of anger and attack ads against JB over smart
know.
voting from the NDP is ridiculous.
It
Really?
is. Oh
I didn't know
yeah.
that. I didn't
Yep.
Oh
know
yeah,
that.
no, they made an ad against strategic voting for the NDP. I was like, girl, you're gonna get more seats if they strategically vote. Why would you be
I
against
know.
that?
I know the irony of it.
I don't know why they can't collaborate.
I don't
Like
know.
they
I
all
don't.
agree with each other. That's the worst part. It's not like in Quebec where like everybody has a different thing that they want.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that there's like lines that they won't cross. Like when it comes to workers' rights and
Well, I mean, yeah,
whatnot.
the
But
NDP definitely has some lines that they won't cross for sure. But I mean, like, I don't think that the Green Party is against those things, and I don't think that the Liberal Party. Well, they're like conservative light, right? So
Well, not no. They're
I
supposed to
think
be
I
saying.
think at the provincial level she might be.
Yeah, she will.
I did mean for the provincial level, just to be
Yeah,
clear.
Yeah.
but I mean like the federal government is like pretty progressive.
I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid them becoming more. Well, as Karina said, she's afraid that they're going to go conservative light, and they have been for many years moving in that direction where they were getting closer and closer to the right side. Like,
Are we talking federal now?
But I don't think
I liked when
the
Justin
Trudeau
moved
government
the
is
party
going further.
left
Yeah,
a
Trudeau's
little.
been going right, way far left.
But I wouldn't say he's
We
been
have
going
no
way far
choice.
left because fiscally he's been doing trickle down economics, which doesn't work. So
It's not really like the stimulus. You mean?
no, like bailing out Bell Canada.
I
No,
think
he
that
didn't
should have.
bail.
I
The
think
Liberals
I
did not
no.
bail.
Yeah. That was a bipartisan thing.
That was conservative and NDP, which I'm surprised NDP did that.
Well, the Liberals okayed it, didn't they? They were okay
Nope,
with
they
that.
didn't. They didn't.
Did they vote no against it?
They voted no against it.
I didn't know that.
I didn't
I
know that
assumed they voted
either.
yes. I thought
Yep.
it was a joint thing. But I got to
No.
be honest with you. I think it's a failure on the Liberals already that they're not more aggressive with the antitrust violations. You know, I think they should be like targeting big companies like that, splitting them off instead of like making deals with them.
Absolutely, I agree. I
Well,
think that
you're right.
like Loblaws, it's ridiculous, and they revamped the Competition Bureau, but they didn't do much. I saw that the
We need it
NDP
stronger.
put in an extra bill to
Mhm.
really create more difficulty for these groups to merge with each other.
Yeah.
Like it was like a 60-30 ruling where you can't merge more than 30 or more than 60%. So like,
That's what we're
so
talking
these
about.
can't
Yeah.
eat Metro as an example.
But
'Cause,
can
like,
you also understand that we have free market in Canada?
pardon?
We have free market in Canada. And
Yeah,
that's
but
the biggest issue that we
I don't
have.
know how much we need a free market as much as we need regulations. You
I'm
know,
not
there
saying
was
I
a
Yeah,
agree
time
but
with
that's
it.
that's
in
that's the
liberal
thing. Like
history
I
where
agree.
good
that's a
governance was a
referendum
big
issue.
part of it.
That's a
I'm not
referendum
saying I
issue,
agree.
though, right? Like right now, especially when you're talking about a minority government and trying to affect change. Like the Liberals can't do
Yeah.
that without any
Yeah.
cooperation.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know, I think they'll find that hard to get it right now. Yeah.
I know.
Hey,
That's what people don't
you
understand.
may
People
want
don't
to
understand.
look at the comments.
I'm sorry.
Why? For whom?
Oh, gross.
You don't have another mod in here. I think you're the only one that can do anything about it.
Just want to say bailing out companies isn't called trickle-down economics. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was reluctant to make that statement as well. I feel like it's more of a capitalist venture. But I guess like no, she's right because like the idea of trickle down economics is bailing those guys out in the hopes that they'll continue to put that money into their employees and their business, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if it was to go down to the
Thanks,
workers,
Meredith.
yeah, you could make a case for that, but it never does. I guess that's where I was going.
But like, I don't know. Like, I feel like we could be doing a lot more. There's not enough competition in Canada, and that's very obvious.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's
Not bailing out Bell Canada though would make it worse because then you'd only be left with Rogers in a lot of areas. No, because then you'd have
And I
a
think
monopoly.
The thing
in a
is
lot
that
of
they
spots.
both have. Bell has a monopoly, right?
Yeah.
And Bell kind of put themselves in a situation because they had a monopoly, and then they decided to be bad. They were bad at customer service. They decided to give shit customer service, to mistreat their clients, and now nobody trusts them and nobody wants to work with them anymore.
That's right.
well, yeah. Look at
And
all
they
the
go back and
scandals
forth too.
on
Like
them.
they even set limits on it. Like if you're disappointed with the service, they don't care because they know you'll come back in 2 years because you'll be
Like
disappointed with the competition.
I have a lot of friends who've worked for Bell, and I
Yeah.
used to work for Rogers. And what we used to say all the time was that Bell invented bad customer service and Rogers perfected it because both of them are shit companies that don't
I
care about
know.
their clients.
Exactly.
And I say that
Either
as
one of
somebody
them's
who had to
good.
work their customer service.
I'm not saying either one of them has good service. I'm just saying that if you eliminate one of the two that control a monopoly, you're giving a monopoly to the other one.
I also think we should be
Bail it
funding media, right? Like so that we prevent, you know, private corporate interests from taking over control of our
Yeah,
media.
I think that we need to be helping out Post Canada, and
Yeah.
I'm very afraid that the Liberal Party is going to sell off Post Canada.
No, they're not. They're not going to sell. No,
I
they're
am very
not.
afraid of it because
No, they're not.
Ugh.
Trust me, they're not.
they're not considered profitable anymore, and I think that
Yeah,
they
but
shouldn't
they're
have
not
ever been in a
going to.
position
Yeah.
where they had to be a corporation instead of a service. They were supposed to be a service, they started as a service, and they should be Canada Postal Service again.
I know, but I don't think they
Yeah, I
will
agree.
sell them all. They
No,
will
no,
definitely
I
not.
think we should definitely take more controlling interest in the
Because,
postal
like,
service. It should be a
21
government job.
VPs and a CEO who gets paid more than the Prime Minister, that doesn't
Yeah.
sound like a working
No,
department.
it should be like a government institution and run just like any other, like
Yeah.
It
military
would
or
cost
like
less
a
money.
bus service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it would protect the interest of Canadians because they wouldn't
Well,
have
yeah,
a
because
vest.
Yeah, and
There's
they
no
wouldn't be
vested
selling
interest in
Quebecers
profit.
information anymore. Because
Yeah.
did you know that there's a big scandal about that? Canada Post has been selling off our information in Quebec. There's a class action lawsuit against it.
But
The advertising agencies.
how do I say this? I would say at this point, let's see who will get in, what kind of government forms in the federal government, and how they will address these issues.
Yeah.
Because I think that if we get a good leader in as the liberal leader, and if it's predicted, I'm hoping it is predicted what it's going to be
Yeah,
predicted. We don't know
I
polls are
I
polls,
think
right?
we've seen the impact of the new leader, and then we'll get another boost when that leader is actually named.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be Carney myself.
yeah.
I think it's going to be
Hopefully,
Carney, and if
hopefully he
it's
sees.
not, I don't know who
Hopefully,
it's going to be.
hopefully he sees the writing on the wall and gets Karina Gould on board.
Oh, she
Uh,
will. She'll stay.
Oh,
no,
she's so
I meant like,
great.
sorry, I meant
She would
like gets
never.
Karina on board as a senior member, right?
Yeah.
And it takes more than just asking; it takes convincing at that level. So I hope she is on board. Um, but sorry, Team Bonnie just sent me an email and I
I
got distracted.
Oh,
I
I
think she
think
will be on board just for this,
yeah.
even for the sake of wanting to make sure that she can put her spin on it, like her stamp on projects, right? Like she was heavily invested and involved in a lot of the things that she talked about.
Yeah, and I think she's
So,
benevolent though. Like I
mhm.
think she does this out of like empathy more than out of like
yeah.
a need for like popularity or
Yeah.
whatever.
I think that eventually, like, even if it's not this time around, she is going to be the leader of the Liberal Party eventually.
Yeah.
Feels
That's what
like
I
Oh,
think
she's
like,
the
too.
future.
yeah.
Like she's smart,
I
and I'm
think she's
like,
being
yeah,
like
girl.
that's right. I think that if you're looking 8 years down the line, I think she's like absolutely the
Yeah.
candidate. Maybe even 4 years.
Yeah,
But
I
I
don't
think
know if
right,
Kanye wants to be a prime minister for that long, you know? I mean, he's never
exactly.
been a politician before. He's stepping up because he feels like it's his moral obligation to do so.
And it's a pivotal time in Canadian history. So like
Yeah.
I think he's also got an element of wanting to be in the record books as a person who guided us through, right? That's his hat trick, the
Oh, you
USA,
think that it's like an
Brit.
ego thing?
Well,
Well,
they
of
want
course.
to.
I think at some level, every leader has an ego thing.
Yeah, that's
You
fair.
know, there is no charity that isn't without a little bit of selfishness, right? Like that resonates with me. So, and it keeps
Yeah.
me grounded. Like everything we do is for a reason, and we become that reason at some level. Even if you're trying to make somebody else feel better, you're still making yourself feel better by making that person feel better, right?
Hmm.
So in that same kind of, if you scale that up on that level, I think there's a little bit of that ego in there. I can be the one to drive. Like it's, a lot of people like in this chat, not many of us would say I can lead this country. Sure, we can talk, but like to really lead, I don't think like we would suggest that we have that in us.
I mean, the circumstances, the way it happened, at least he left with dignity. He's leaving with dignity. He's still the prime minister. He's leaving with dignity.
He's blazing a trail right now, and he's
Mhm.
Mhm.
tearing it up. Think of all of the deals that he is signing to mitigate this tariff impact. He is crushing it more than he's crushed it in a long time. And it's
Yep.
an invigoration that I see in him, myself, anyways, where that exuberance has come back to the surface, that confidence and that walk. He knows that he has a limited time, and we're going to see the real Trudeau, and that's what we've been seeing. And he's been here the whole time. People say, "Where's he been? Where's he been? Where's that guy been?" He's been here the whole time. He hasn't changed.
I think he was just being very diplomatic. Maybe he was too diplomatic for a little while there.
I
Well,
agree.
it's
Some of
because he
these
was a
deals he's signed
minority
have been on the
government.
table for months.
He
Oh
was in a
yeah.
minority government that was very hard because with Pierre as being the opposition and tearing him down, and then we had which won't mention the name of it, happen, and I think that has led to this, right? Because we were recovering from the pandemic. We were doing
Yeah,
well.
it was misinformation. It was a lot of misinformation, I think. But
Exactly.
also, I think the one thing that even the Liberal Party and the NDP and anybody who still supports the Liberals will say, is that they didn't fix the fucking voting. They didn't make it. So they said they were going to give us voter reform. They had a majority government, and they didn't
Did you know
fucking do
why
it
they didn't do it though?
because they didn't want to have to. They wanted other parties to agree with them or something.
Yeah, so they didn't want to unilaterally force Trudeau idea on Canada for long-term impact, right? Like
Look, I
there
mean,
were so
anything
many
would be
other
better.
people that had different like because as a leader you have to represent more than just your party's interests. You have to
Sure,
represent all Canadians. And
Exactly.
but
I think that's what that's one of his regrets. So I'm not
yeah.
arguing with you.
I mean,
I'm,
like,
I'm agreeing
I
with you.
agree that we do want Canada. Like, I can understand with the philosophy, but the thing is that he had the people to do it.
Yeah,
They could
exactly.
have done the referendum that they
Could you
wanted
He could
imagine
have
to.
had he
forced
done
it.
it?
We would
Exactly.
Could
not
you
be in the
imagine had he
position that
done
we
it?
are today.
No, we would have had a riot. Be like Trudeau's trying to change Canada.
No, because we all voted him for that.
Well, we voted
Yeah,
him for a lot of
yeah, we
things.
Well, I
voted
mean,
him a majority
I
the
didn't
first
vote
time.
for him for that, but when he did do that, I did follow the Liberal Party. I even like joined their
Yeah.
newsletters update.
I voted for Trudeau because he wasn't this evangelical right wing.
I voted NDP because the guy in my writing for NDP
Yeah,
was awesome, and he
I,
got in.
that's true. Actually, I did. I did. You think Trudeau lied about that? It's possible. To save face, it's possible that he lied about that. But I think there's other people that corroborated it. So, like when he was on the Nate Erskine Smith show, like Nate said it, and Nate isn't really a friend of Trudeau in Parliament, apparently. So, as by his own description, you know. So I think
Maybe it's possible that he couldn't get a consensus in his own party.
it's definitely true. But
Like, I mean,
That's
that
the
was
that's
it.
what
conservatives.
I
I
wish he would
believe.
have
That's
done
what the
anything.
Conservatives claim.
Yeah, I wish he would have done anything. Like ranked ballot, sure, let's do it.
He wanted ranked
STV,
ballot.
let's do that.
He wanted ranked
Like
ballot.
mixed proportional representation was my go-to. It was the one I voted for on
And
the.
that's what the other people in his part, some of the other people in his party wanted. But the conservatives wanted first past the post.
But the conservatives didn't matter because they had a majority.
But you still have to
Yeah, but
respect because they
Conservatives
also
did
had,
want to first past the post, though.
but they
Of
also had
course,
a
the
lot of
conservatives want first past the post. It benefits them.
exactly. But they
well,
also
It
had
wouldn't have, though.
yeah, yeah, because it would have
it
benefited.
always benefits the populist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
first past the post benefits. Yeah.
The
So if
populist.
he would have done it, if he would have changed the voting, we would not be in a position today where we'd be worried about our country's future, right? We'd be like, okay, well, we're going to vote left no matter what. I would
yeah,
almost guarantee
exactly.
the conservatives would never win.
It would be almost always guaranteed that they would be the prime minister, and in a lot of cases. But it would also be almost guaranteed that they would be so outnumbered that they couldn't get anything done. Actually,
We've never
it's
seen
hard to
politics
say
like this.
because you know how many people vote liberal just because of the fact that they don't believe in any other party because they've historically when they voted other things when they were younger, it didn't go that way, right? Like
Yeah, it's true. But
if
I've
anybody
never
had the
seen.
ability to just vote with their heart, I think we would have a lot more green parties.
Well, here's the thing. We've never seen politics like this before. This is dirty politics we're seeing right now on the conservative side.
It's been dirty like this since
No,
Harper.
not like this. I've never seen anything like this. All right, they've had situations. Yeah, they disagree on things or whatever. At the end of the day, they stood together. What we're seeing
Yeah.
now is something completely different.
Well,
They've
Just,
moved in a
just to be
different
I talked
fair,
about the
none of us have ever seen anything like this specifically, right?
yeah.
I think Butters has talked about this so often. Like this is the first election where social media plays such a big role,
Yes.
and all of us, even if we were into politics before, or some of us might have been, or some of us weren't, right? Politics was not such a big part of everybody's lives the way it is today, regardless of how you want to look at it. So we've not seen politics like this before. It always kind of has been dirty, but it's been
Yeah.
mild dirty. You know what I mean?
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't at this degree, and it wasn't so insidious.
Exactly.
Well,
There was a time when you could call somebody a liar in the House of Commons,
Yeah,
and that was before Stephen Harper made it not allowed.
exactly.
but
And I
Exactly.
personally think that we should bring back the fact that you can call someone a liar in Parliament, because if somebody's lying, people need to be able to call them out on it.
Well, here's the thing. So, let's say let's say Pierre does lose, right? That would mean that he would have to step down as the leader of the party.
Yeah,
No, not
He has
necessarily.
to.
but
You
maybe
don't have
not.
to
No,
step. You don't have to step
No.
down.
you
But
don't have
No,
to
the
you
step down.
Conservatives
no
would
no.
definitely oust him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will.
They have the last two.
And
Yeah.
but before that they didn't, right? Like who was it that lost and kept the leadership and won right afterwards?
Well, you have to keep
Okay.
in mind also that the Conservative Party of Canada has only existed with Harper.
No, but
Because
I'm including
the Reform Party
the
and the
reform.
Progressive this is a different party. It's not the same party. We have to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
is it why is it
Well,
different?
Because I think it was Joe Clark before that.
Oh. Yeah, but why
Yeah,
was
he
it
was
different,
there.
sorry? Yeah, but Joe Clark left and then came back as
Joe
leader.
Clark left the CPC because of the fact that they were not the same party anymore, and he couldn't stand by because they were now the Reform Party. I like to bring that back because
Yeah.
the fact that a lot of people go, oh well, they're
I'd like
just
to make that argument now.
They aren't.
it's different than what it used to be in the sense that it's not the party you remember. The Conservative Party, whether in Canada or U.S., is not the Conservative Party you remember as a child, right, or as a young adult. It's gone extreme. However, they have always played the long game, right? So regardless of how openly they're extreme today, they've always been extreme. Like if you look in the States, we don't have gerrymandering, but in the States, gerrymandering has been a decade-long plan to get to the point of where they are today.
Both parties do that, though.
What?
It's not just the Republicans that do that.
They draw lines, but the Republicans draw a line. Have you seen their lines?
Yes, both parties do it.
Yeah,
Am
but
I
I mean,
wrong in thinking that in the States,
Yeah.
your vote is attached to your ID? In the way that Canada, all of our votes are anonymous, they have stats that are so specific about the voting population that there is no way that they are not, that they have to be voting in a way that their information is attached to their ballot.
yeah, I think so.
So
I think so.
there's no way to gerrymander in Quebec or in Alberta even in the same way because we have anonymous ballots.
Well, what they
Yeah.
mean though is they mean redrawing the boundaries. Like Canada, like Elections Canada is the one that redraws the boundaries for the provinces. So
Yeah.
like if Elections Canada started making really weird boundaries that like an entire section is all conservative, and then the other
Like they'll take an area and then they'll draw a line, and instead of going a straight line all the way down or taking that particular town, they'll cut the town up in a certain way where it puts let's say black people in the other town so that they are invalidated for the most part. They do a lot of that with BIPOC people, right? So when you watch their lines, they're ridiculous. They go all over the place to avoid certain pockets of people, right? So even if your voting is attached to your ID, it doesn't matter because that line was like missed you.
Oh, but they make that's how they do that. That's how they form those lines. They know who lives in what building, and so they're able to
not,
do it that way.
they
But
don't
they
even
can't
need
do
to
it
do
in
that.
Canada.
They
can't do it in
all they
Canada.
need to do is look at the polls because though like where I just voted, they would be able to say like at this polling place, this many people voted conservative, this many people voted liberal. So then then when the next thing comes around, they'll redraw it so that poll isn't in this riding. That way, everyone in that riding will be part of, say, a liberal riding, so that their votes are negated.
Yeah, they did that in
Is basically what
France
they'll do.
when Marie Le Pen was running, and it almost looked like because of what happened in the States. This was before what happened in the States happened, with all of the everything going Republican. They might have actually used this technique But in France, to avoid Marie Le Pen taking power, because she's a far right, they dropped out of the race and allowed the opponent to take take all of the left votes in one candidate, and it worked. It kept her out.
That was smart voting.
It's the same thing as smart
on
voting.
On the party side, yeah.
Because if we adhered to smart voting in Ontario, I think they would end up with a minority, which would mean that if they were doing such a bad job, we could tear down the government, right?
Or they could at least create like a coalition if they wanted to, like, keep
Definitely.
going.
Yeah, I didn't want to jinx it though. That's like talking about a shutout with 5 minutes to go in the game.
That's fair, but I mean, I really hope that smart voting made a difference. I hope it did.
Yeah, likewise. I'm really hoping it did too. I mean, it doesn't change my riding though. Like my riding, as some people in this live might know, is solidly liberal.
Well, I mean, that's good though.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
in the
sure,
same
it's
riding.
good, but
So.
like I like Green. I like Green Party for my province. I used to vote Green because they
Well,
used to get money and
that
funding
is
from
so
all the
fair.
votes. And you know, I love Mike Schreiner, but
He's
like
great. I heard him in the debate. He was the best debater of
I
all.
agree, and he was
He
point
was.
counterpoint, very concise, very quick with his responses. And I voted for Elizabeth May as well. Like I supported Elizabeth May. I
Yeah.
voted NDP with Nicole Trammell. She was my riding. I didn't have a viable candidate otherwise, but it went block at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, my writing is set to go block.
Oh,
Yeah,
mine
Just gonna
is.
say for anybody,
that's
for anybody
marginally.
listening, it's 7:43 Eastern time in Ontario right now. So if you haven't voted, you still
Yeah,
have time. They're open until 9 p.m.
it
Get
all
out
it,
to vote.
it,
Anything but conservative.
it also means that we haven't hit 30,000 mark yet. Please like this live as much as you can.
Yeah.
Let's get over the 30,000 threshold so that we can keep pace with the other shows on Beaver Politics. Beaver Politics airs 7 days a week. We address all things Canadian, from politics to social climate, including my show on Sundays, A Damn Happy Life, where we explore the definitions of what we use to define happiness, how we define happiness in life. That's Sundays, 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Now
Nice.
back to the show.
Right. So in my situation, my riding, I've lived in 11 years. It's been conservative. And I'm telling you, and this is how we're supposed to vote. We're supposed to vote for, your MPP, your MP. So I've had both. And like my MP and my MPP is always conservative. I've never got representation. Never.
Right? That's embarrassing
It is.
for Canadians, especially when we consider the voter turnout. Like that is apathy at its core. That is the definition of apathy.
Exactly.
And I just feel for myself, in this, that the people who suffer the most are the people with, the most to lose.
Exactly.
Like disproportionately impacts, less privileged people.
Never gonna happen, Tyler. Never gonna
I do have to call it. I'm going to take my lovely wife to vote right now,
Oh.
and I got to wrap it up. If we hey, oops, sorry about that.
All right.
You're good, Quinn. But thank you very much, everybody, for joining. Thank you for getting us over 30,000. I can go to bed without being embarrassed this evening. And thanks for joining the live. Hopefully somebody takes over in the interim. We do have 15 minutes left before the next show. I think Progressive Moose. I'm going to lean on you here. If you could start us up, keep it going. That would be muy obrigado. Much thanks. And have yourselves a wonderful evening. I